Hey guys, it's Ramona. Welcome back to my channel. We're doing an exciting video today. In today's video, we will be talking about what is supposed to be my top 4 for Q1, but I will be breaking the rules and talking about my top 5. So the top 5 books for Q1. So Q1, January 1st to the end of March, the books that I read in that time period, and we're trying to choose top 4. But it was a very difficult choice. So for that reason, I am breaking the rules. I'm picking 5. And even the 5 was difficult to choose. I have commitment issues when it comes to books, guys. It's hard for me to pick my top anything. If it's even within a month to pick my top of the month or my top of the year, I still find it difficult because each book, each story gives me something different and I love them for different reasons. So it's difficult to play favorites, but we'll play the game and we'll pick some books. The first one I want to talk about, I don't physically have with me. I actually loaned it to a friend to read. So it's You Know It's Love by Jen Morris. Jen Morris is an author from New Zealand, and this is the second of a series. It's a rom-com, and I loved the other book as well, like absolutely loved it. I was so nervous going into this one because I love the first one so much. And typically when I love a book in a series, I'm nervous that the books that follow won't live up to the expectation of the first book. But it was really good. It was actually, the second one was actually better than the first one, which I really, really loved. I love Jen and her books because her characters are usually so relatable. And that's one of the things that you guys will hear me talk about all the time. I'm like a broken record when it comes to especially rom-coms and their main characters, because we're so used to rom-coms where the main characters are perfect and just seem so unattainable to the average person. So I like books that show us characters with the vulnerability and the types of issues that we actually go through and we can relate to. So Jen, absolutely love her and love her books. Even though she's from New Zealand, her books are based in New York because she has a New York obsession. And then there's a book 3 that's coming out soon that she just said she sent for first editing. So super excited for the third one as well. The second that I will talk about is a book that I made reference to in my video where I did my wrap up for the month of March. It's The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. I won't go into too much detail about this because I did that in the previous video. So I will link that video that you can go and watch it to see me talking about this in more detail. So all the criteria that I typically need to love a book, I got in this. All the emotions. I want to feel all the different emotions. So the happiness, the sadness and tears, like I actually cried in some parts of this. And I also learned a lot from it. That's usually something that I like. So that I like reading for a number of reasons, and one of them is that I like to learn things that I wouldn't learn otherwise, and I felt like this ticked that box for me. So really loved it. It's a World War II historical fiction. Love it. Please go check it out. The Book of Lost Names. And then the next one that I'll talk about is Ever After Always by Chloe Leese. And again, I won't go into a lot of detail because I recently did a video. It was part 1 of a series that I will be doing on indie authors that I think you guys should be checking out and reading. So I went into detail about this in that video. Again, I'll link that video above so you can go and watch it. I love Chloe and her books for the same broken record reason that I said earlier, is that her characters are relatable. Her characters typically have issues that even if you yourself, if you are not experiencing those issues, you would probably know somebody who is experiencing issues or similar issues. So I like that. This is book 3 in a series featuring the Bergman siblings. The good thing though is that you don't have to read book 1 and 2 in order to enjoy book 3. It also is good as a standalone, and there is a book 4 that is coming out soon. So go give this a read. And then Got Her Child by Jael Richardson. So I did an entire video on this book because I loved it that much. I will link that as well, so you can go watch that video to see the complete details. Jael Richardson is a Canadian author from Brampton, Ontario. I love when Canadian authors knock it out of the park, especially when it's their debut novel. So this was great. Covers so many relevant and serious topics that we're experiencing in the world today. And even though it's based in an imagined world, it draws so many parallels to what's going on in society right now. So go pick this up. I have not seen a negative review for this book, so hopefully you will like it as well. So let me know in the comment section if you do pick it up and if you like it. And I know that Jael recently announced that she's working on something where I'm thinking it's a continuation of this, and so we're excited for that. And then finally, we will talk about Ties That Tether by Jane Igaru. So this is Jane's first book, and again, I absolutely love it when an author smashes it out of the park with their first book. She's a Canadian author, and I usually like to highlight Canadian authors, but again, it's not a reason for me to say like I love this book just because it's a Canadian author. It just makes it so much better. It's a rom-com, and it's based on something that I can relate to as an immigrant, especially with kids who are growing up in what you can kind of call two worlds, right? So you have the world at home where you're experiencing your culture from back home, and then the life that they're experiencing outside of home with the Canadian culture. So she features Azure, who is from Nigeria. She moved to Canada as a child, and then she falls in love with Raphael, who is a white man. And then that goes against everything for her culturally and family-wise, because when she was a child, she made some crazy promise to her father before he died that she would marry within their culture. And of course, that's a very hard promise to keep, right? Because again, who knows what's going to happen in life? So it follows their story throughout the family drama and just getting back to each other. It's not a slow burn. A lot of rom-coms, it's like dragged out in terms of you're going through all of this rigmarole before they realize that they're into each other. This is one of those books where it literally flings you into it's like right off the bat, they've realized that they have a connection, and the story starts right away. So it's a pretty quick story. Sometimes the slow burn drags out for far too long, so that's not what this one is. But I really love this, and I'm looking forward to more from Jane. Again, if this is her first novel, I can't wait to see what else she writes. One of the things I love about this book is the writing, and it is based in Toronto. Again, I love that because I like reading a book and you can identify places as they're being described, and you're like, oh, I've been there. I know where that is. Even Canadian authors, and I've said this before, I believe, are sometimes forced to base their book in the US because that's what publishers want, because they think that's what will sell. So I absolutely love when a Canadian author is able to base their book at home and the Canadian reading public can feel like it's something that's very close for them. So love that. So that's my top 5. have you read any of these? Let me know what your thoughts are. If you agree with me, if you don't, let me know what your top, if you can choose, because I know it's hard for everybody, but if you can choose, let me know what your the top books that you've read so far for this year and why. Let me know what I should be reading. So thank you guys again for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know your thoughts, and happy reading.